All right, so UFC Fight Night Denver is in the books, and it is what it is. um, it was a women's MMA headlined fight night at Elevation. No shade towards the ladies in the main event. Rose put on a good fight. Um, yeah, poor Tracy just got beat up for 5 rounds. She had a few moments, but not many. Let's go ahead and start from the top because there were some interesting fights throughout. So start with, let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so we're good. Evan Elder and Darius Flowers. This was rough. It was rough. Obviously, again, we're at elevation. I'm pretty sure Darius Flowers took this fight on short notice. But it didn't bode too well for our boy Darius. So he had some moments in the first round. He was seemingly able to time Elder in some exchanges and connected with some pretty significant shots. I think he maybe even dropped Evan at some point in that first round, but obviously between rounds, telling his coach he couldn't breathe, like, yeah, can't can't be having that after 5 minutes of fighting. Like it wasn't even like 5 hard minutes, you know? But I digress. We'll move on to Josh Fremd and Andre Petrosky. So these boys here had a pretty good fight. Um, Josh Fremd outstruck Petrosky 60-30, essentially 2-1. But Petrosky had a ton of control time. Um, he was landing some pretty big shots. So like, I don't know. I feel like the strike count doesn't really tell the story because Petrosky's shots were a lot more meaningful, we'll say. And then obviously he was able to secure a takedown, I'm pretty sure, in each round. Yeah. And just control. I wish it showed the control time here, but whatever. Petrosky gets it done by decision. Pretty funny watching him try to secure that arm triangle though on like 2 or 3 different occasions. Couldn't finish it. Luana Santos and Maria Agapova. This is a pretty good fight while it lasted. Nice showcase for Luana Santos. Um, Maria Agapova. I don't really know what she's gonna do from here, but she's getting handled by the Luana Santoses of the division. Maybe maybe time to see what Invicta's saying or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, we move on. Montel Jackson and Damon Blackshear. Man, I did not see this going that way. But holy smokes, 18 seconds into the first round, gets a devastating KO. Montel Jackson looked fucking crisp, and yeah, Damon Blackshear. I mean, they can't fault him for his chin not serving him, but it is what it is. He got knocked out quick. Props to Montel Jackson on a sick win. Moving on, Jasmine Jasudavicius and Fatima Klein. So this was an interesting fight. Um, I'm pretty sure Klein was a very credentialed jiu-jitsu player coming into this fight. Uh, Jazdavicius obviously showcasing her grit and her grappling strengths in this fight and previous fights, but yeah, she was able to get a pretty dominant victory. There were a couple of scary close calls there, but yeah, ultimately Jasmine gets it done. Solid victory decision. This one's rough. This one is rough for all the Josh Van fans, for everyone's parlays. I mean, seeing Charles Johnson lately, it's kind of tough to count him out of a fight. Um, he doesn't get phased too easily. Like Van was landing some good shots in the first and second rounds. Um, Obviously, he absorbed a lot of damage in the first and second rounds, also. So that didn't play to his to Van's advantage there. Obviously, um, absorbing all of that damage early, but yeah, sweet KO by Charles Johnson. I suggest you guys go and watch it back if you have not already. But you got to feel for Josh Van. RIP to those parlays. RIP to my parlay. Um, all right, so Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Cody Brundage. I mean, not much to say about this one. Uh, Abdul Razak Al Hassan was teeing off on Brundage. Looked like he nearly had him out, and then fucking just decided to ignore the ref saying you hitting him in the back of the head. You know, like there were a few pretty egregious back of the head shots. You know, like anything behind the ear, like to the back side of the ear, I think is considered in the back of the head technically. Um, and I mean, his Brundage's ear was like in his ear was covered by his arm, so there was nothing but the back of his head exposed. And Razak Al Hassan just proceeds to throw elbows to directly to the back of the head after being warned several times. He's lucky that it was deemed a no contest and not a DQ. But yeah, there you have it. There you have it. And then making himself look absolutely foolish afterwards. Like, brother, you threw the foul. You know, like you fouled. No use getting bent out of shape about it after the fact. Um, Another parlay breaker here, Julian Arosa, and Christian Rodriguez. This was, I mean, it looked on paper pretty even in the striking department, but Arosa was definitely landing shots. You could definitely notice the reach difference between the two of them. And yeah, eventually 11 seconds left in the first round. Julian Rosa ends up getting the submission by rear naked choke. Moving on, Gabrielle Bonfim and Angelusa Losa. Another guy that I don't really like just due to his poor sportsmanship in his previous fight with Brian Battle. But yeah, and he's also had a tendency to gas a little bit, so I didn't think that the altitude was going to serve him well. Um, and it didn't. It didn't really. He put on a more competitive fight against Bonfim than I thought he would. But yeah, ultimately ends up dropping the decision. Credited with 4 takedowns, mind you, wasn't able to do much with them. And then, yeah, that's about all I can say about that one. Not super impressed with Bonfim's performance, but he got the win. Racially motivated Dober did not get it done. Um, he put on a good fight. I mean, props to Silva for coming up in weight on short notice. That was super impressive. Um, I thought Duber, I thought Dober was going to be able to get it done. Uh, he did not. Wasn't out of the fight at any point. You know, if it wasn't for that cut, I feel like it would have definitely gone the rest of the decision. Or it would have gone to decision rather. I think John Silva would have gotten credited with the win afterwards. Uh, yeah, yeah. Not much more to say about this one. That cut on Dober's right eye was intense. One of the worst we've probably seen in the octagon. Um, yeah, I'm glad for his sake that it was stopped because that could have gotten a lot worse. Even though there were only 3.5 minutes left. Um, a matter of time before Silva connected on that spot again with his accurate left hook that he was throwing there. But I digress. We're gonna move on to the next one. Ponzinibbio and Salikov. This was an interesting fight. Uh, I thought Ponzinibbio looked a lot better than I expected him to look. Salikov was throwing a lot of spinny shit as he tends to do. I'm pretty sure he even ended up hurting Ponzinibbio at one point. I don't know. I was sort of fading in and out of consciousness near the end of this card, if I'm going to be honest. I've yet to watch this one back, but from what I do remember seeing, Ponzinibbio looked good, but yeah, I feel like kind of a toss up on who that could have gone to. Um, obviously, split decision is a testament to that. But yeah, we'll move on to the women's flyweight main event. This ended up going all 5 rounds. Um, Rose just put on a clinic. Tracy didn't have an answer to anything. I feel like Rose was dominating anywhere the fight went, whether it was on the feet or on the ground. Sort of what we expected, I guess. But yeah, when Rose is on, she's on. I hope that we can see a few more performances like this out of Rose before she inevitably retires. But yeah, good good fight. Like I said, it was a clinic, pretty much one-way traffic the whole way. But yeah, it was an enjoyable watch. Um, some fun fights on the card overall. There was an assassination attempt on Trump. Some point before the card started, I think. I'm surprised they didn't mention anything about it in the broadcast. I know there are a few fighters that mentioned it in the post fight interview, but yeah, condolences to family of the deceased. Can't really give less of a shit about the shooter in this case. Well deservedly put out of his misery. Yeah, it's messed up. I'm surprised that the Secret Service dropped the ball as big as they did. Yeah, weird times. But on that strange note, happy to end my 4-month hiatus with this video here. Hopefully it finds you, and if it does, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Love you guys, and see you in the next one. All right, bye bye.